How's it going, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the Mavs Step Back Podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. I'm joined by my co-host, Drew Johnson. You can catch us on social media, on X, at Dalton_Trigg and at Coach Drew 33. We were with the Blue Wire Podcast Network for probably 4 years now, I think it's been. But we recently switched over. Our contract ended, and we decided to go with Believe for our new podcast network. We're very excited about the potential we have with Believe and, some of their sponsorship setups. And, it just seemed like a good fit for Mavs Step Back. And, after talking with both companies over the last 2 weeks, we just decided that, we're going to go with Believe. So I don't have the nice little setup yet, with their logo to put in the bottom corner because this literally just happened, a couple days ago. But we'll have all that nice and formatted out, and it'll be a nice look going forward. So just a little business side news there for Mavs Step Back. But DJ, the biggest news in Mavs world over the last couple days is PJ Washington. We've two big extensions had already happened this offseason. Kyrie Irving, he signed a new 3-year deal. It was, I believe, he opted out. He opted out and just re-signed. So it technically wasn't an extension. He opted out and signed a new 3-year contract. Daniel Gafford, he signed a 3-year extension that will put him at a 4-year deal now, including this year. And now PJ Washington, when he signed his contract with the Charlotte Hornets several years ago, it happened in late August. So he wasn't extension eligible until late August this time. And even though he has 1 year left on his current contract, he's now signed a 4-year, $90 million contract. So including this upcoming season, PJ Washington is on the books for the Mavs for the next 5 seasons, which is great. He is a very good, very versatile, young, talented forward. And look, it comes out to an average of $22.5 million a year. In my opinion, that is a steal for what PJ Washington brings to the table in today's NBA economy. You look at some of these deals out here, and then you look at the restricted free agency market where guys like Quentin Grimes and Josh Giddey and Jonathan Kuminga, all those guys are still not signed to a new deal, and some of them are considering taking the qualifying offer to get to unrestricted free agency next year because they want something in the $30 million a year range. And I personally think PJ Washington's better than all those players. Yep. So I think this is a steal for Dallas. I think it's a fair price for PJ, but it's also a steal for the Mavs. And I think PJ kind of knew, based on how Nico Harrison has operated over the years with, non-star players, not including the Luka stuff, obviously, but like with other players on the team, it's like if you don't take that extension that's being offered, chances are you're going to be traded before the season's over. And, I'm sure they didn't say that to PJ, but when they offered this extension, to try and avoid him going into unrestricted free agency next summer, I'm sure that was in the back of his mind and his agent's mind. Like, okay, I can take this. It's a lot of money. $90 million is a lot of money over its long-term job security. And you get to stay in Dallas. And then the flip side of that is like, well, I could hold out and potentially get more money next summer, but then I'm probably going to get traded. So I think it was a good arrangement for both sides, and I'm excited. I love PJ Washington. I think he's going to have his fingerprints on this upcoming season from start to finish, and he can't be traded until next summer now because of being in the late offseason and signing it. I think it's a 6-month restriction, which will take it past this coming season's trade deadline. So overall, what are your thoughts on the PJ Washington deal, and how excited are you to see him get things started this year?
I was really worried that we were going to try and package him for LeBron, so this kind of alleviates that that fear of mine. From a basketball standpoint, purely, he's one of the most versatile defenders in the league, and you can't overstate the value of that. Some people, I've seen some people on the timeline saying, it's a lot to pay for a bench player. He's not going to exclusively be a bench player. There are going to be multiple lineups that we're going to roll out depending upon who we are playing at the time and matchups and et cetera, that are going to feature him in the starting lineup, either at the 3, the 4, or even a small ball 5 occasionally, depending on injuries and stuff. I mean, we've actually seen reports come out of them talking about putting him as like a 3 or a 4 in a lineup with Cooper Flagg at the 2. So it ought to be. I mean, the possibilities are endless. But whenever you have a guy that's a Swiss Army knife on defense, that allows you to do a lot of different things. He's developing offensively. We've seen his handle get better. His jump shot has improved tremendously. There's no reason to believe that he won't continue to climb. So I think it's an A-plus move by the Mavs. And I'm mostly excited about the fact that we're not going to have to trade him for LeBron, because that would just absolutely upset me.
Yeah, a trade. We've talked about it so many times, but like if a trade for LeBron was going to happen, it was going to gut the Mavs dead. There's just no way to get around it when LeBron makes $53 million on this expiring contract that he has. So, it would have taken PJ, Daniel Gafford, Klay Thompson, and more, just to make that happen. So I'm with you. I'm relieved that we don't have to worry about that anymore. It would still be awesome if LeBron got bought out and he
might happen. It might happen
on a veteran minimum contract, but we'll see how it goes. It's been awfully quiet over there on the Lakers side of things since all that came out about LeBron and him not being happy with how the Lakers have kind of had this transfer of power from him to Luka since that trade. So it'll be very interesting to see how all that plays out. But yeah, man, look, PJ, whether he's starting or coming off the bench, and I do think he will end up, starting the majority of the games before it's said and done. I'm super excited for it because, I mean, last year, even, despite all the turmoil that happened, despite all the injuries that happened to the Mavs roster during that season, he still had it's the second most points he's averaged in his career, 14.7 points per game. 7.8 rebounds per game, which is what I was thrilled with personally. 2.3 assists. He shot 45.3% from the field overall, 38.1% from 3. And again, I mean, this is in a season where they didn't make the playoffs, partially because, I mean, people will blame the Luka trade, but let's be honest, DJ, it was mainly due to injuries. From start to finish, even before the Luka trade, part of the reason the Mavs were in the situation they were last year toward the end of the season is because, Luka had that calf strain on Christmas and was out for multiple months. So, and that was the main injury. There were several other ones before that, nagging injuries here and there to different players. And then the cherry on top was Kyrie Irving tearing his ACL late in the season. So, that was the main reason the Mavs didn't make the playoffs. Now, if they hadn't had all those injuries and made the playoffs, they still may not have advanced far after the Luka trade. But we don't have to debate that anymore. We don't have to think about those different possibilities because they didn't make the playoffs. They won the lottery with 1.8% chance to do so, and they got Cooper Flagg. And I still, as we sit here on Friday, September 5th, 2025, I still can't fully express how that happened. Like, I can't express my feelings on that fully. I just, it's unbelievable to me that happened. Like, it's so crazy to me that happened that I've been buying Powerball tickets lately because, it's proof that things can happen even though they've never happened before. So I'm super excited, and I think like you said, PJ will find a way into that starting lineup. And look, I'm excited to see what they can do with him at the 2 or with even at the 1. Like, they'll be at the Zoe has some very interesting thoughts on this topic too.
Yeah, I think we're tired. That's the problem. We'll probably be going down for a nap shortly after this. But yeah, no, it's very interesting how all this panned out, and we're definitely going to get a 30 for 30 on it one day. I'm fairly confident in that. Just the weirdest summer in Dallas sports history, because not only did you have the Luka trade and the Cooper Flag thing, they were able to get Paige Beckers over there with the Wings. They traded away Parsons from the Cowboys. And now it's a wonder if Parsons is even going to like, we're not even sure if he's going to play. He's going to have to get like injections or something for that to happen. So no, there's going to be a 30 for 30 one day, and it's going to be called a weird summer in Dallas.
That's unbelievable. Like, the Micah Parsons thing came out of left field for me, but I'm not as plugged in as other people are for the Cowboys. But man, that was crazy. Hey, and speaking of the Cowboys, they look pretty solid even without him against the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles in that first game. But it ended exactly how I thought it would, unfortunately.
Yeah, with Dak Prescott getting spat on.
Well, that's actually how it started. But then at the end, they had a chance to drive down and win it. And Dak placed the ball perfectly in CeeDee Lamb's hands. And he couldn't catch it. And it was a 4th down. So that was it. 24-20 was the final score of that one. But look, man, I've said it for a while. There is definitely going to – I don't know if it'll be a 30 for 30. I don't know if it'll be a Netflix exclusive, whatever the case may be. There's going to be something on that. And I think they should include all of our tweets and stuff, some of our clips from, the episodes that immediately followed the Luka trade, because, man, it's going to be something crazy to look back at. But, okay, so look – PJ, we're excited about that. We're excited about all the extensions the Mavs have had so far. We do want to make a quick note because we hadn't been on here since it happened, but the Mavs unfortunately had to waive Omax Prosper because they couldn't. They tried to trade him, but they just couldn't find anybody that would. What the problem is, they had already agreed to a deal with Dante Exum, which would have given them 16 guaranteed contracts. You can only have 15 going into the season. Other teams knew this, and so they viewed taking Omax Prosper as a favor to the Mavs so they could keep Dante Exum. So I'm sure teams were like, okay, well, we'll take Omax and a salary dump, but you got to give us a 2nd-round pick or, something of that nature. And finally the Mavs are just like, nah, we'll just release him. So no more Omax. I hate it. I love the guy. I still think he has a load of potential. But maybe he just signed a 2-way contract with the Memphis Grizzlies. So we'll see if he gets some more opportunity in Memphis than he did in Dallas. And, we'll see what Dante Exum can do too, because look, let's be honest, Dante Exum is probably only going to give you half a season just because he can't seem to stay healthy. But, we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to get the season started regardless of all that. I did love Omax, but I don't think he was ever going to reach his potential while being in Dallas because of the lack of playing time that was going to be there.
Yeah, and I wonder if he's going to do it in Memphis too. I would have really liked to have seen him go somewhere like the Hornets or something, or Washington, where he would have gotten a ton of playing time. I don't know how much he's going to get in Memphis, but yeah, hopefully it works out for him because I love Omax too.
Yeah. So that's pretty much everything going on, Mavs related here lately that we wanted to touch on. One more topic I wanted to get into before we head out here, DJ, is it's not Mavs related, but it is. I mean, it's shocking. It's kind of funny if you think about it. But the Clippers, they are at the center of controversy yet again. It seems like there's always something going on with the Clippers that and it's usually not winning. For a team that only has one Western Conference Finals appearance all time, their franchise history, there's so much drama. They had the Donald Sterling stuff back in the day. They've had some good teams since all that. You had Lob City with Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and all them, and that didn't pan out. Well, then they got Kawhi Leonard in 2019 or 2020. I forgot when it was.
It was right after the Raptors won it. So that would have been
21 or 22.
It was post-COVID. I think it was 21, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, that happened, and then they got Paul George too, and, they couldn't ever stay healthy at the same time, and it's just been one thing after the other. Well, now Pablo Torre came out with a report earlier this week accusing, what he found out was there's been a scandal going on that supposedly Kawhi Leonard had been paid $28 million under the table for a fake endorsement deal. Like he didn't have to show up, do any kind of social media, just nothing, like an endorsement deal with a fraud company that basically, I don't know what the wording you would say for it, but
fraud tree company.
Yeah, a fraud tree planting company under the table. And, at first, even people like Mark Cuban came out and was like, oh, Pablo, have me, I'll come on your show and we'll debate this and all. Well, even when Mark Cuban went on his show to talk about this and try to defend Steve Ballmer, the Clippers owner, he even started out, like one of the clips at the start was Mark Cuban saying, well, if I'm wrong about this and you're right, then Steve obviously isn't as smart as I think he is, which tells you that Cuban is even considering the possibility of, hey, this this might not go my way on this. But look, today, let's see. Yeah, today, so at 12:37 today, Pablo Torre, he tweeted out, he said, hi, PTFO can now confirm that Aspiration, which is the fake tree planting company, gave Kawhi Leonard a secret $20 million side deal, as first reported by Boston Sports BSJ. Combined with Kawhi's secret $28 million no-show endorsement deal, that's $48 million total. PTFO previously reported that Steve Ballmer's personal Aspiration investment was ... $50 million. So the total of combined amount that went to Kawhi Leonard was $48 million. And Steve Ballmer's personal investment in the fraud company was $50 million. And then there was some speculation. I think our guy Kirk Henderson was like, well, was the $2 million extra to launder it? Which I could definitely see that being the case. But probably, man, there's no getting out of this. Like the NBA is currently investigating it. I don't know what the penalty is going to be, but I have a feeling that the Clippers are kind of screwed here.
Yeah, man, here's what really sucks is, they suck and they're going to keep sucking. And the likelihood is they're going to take away their draft capital, like you said earlier, for the foreseeable future. So they're going to continue to suck.
And see, there's one thing I want to say about that, because I'm very interested in seeing how Adam Silver handles something like this, because he hasn't, since he's been the commissioner, he hasn't had anything like this happen yet. So we'll see. I mean, back in the day, like when this happened with the Minnesota Timberwolves and David Stern was in charge, that player, I forgot the player's name for Minnesota, but his contract was completely voided because they found out he was being paid under the table. Contract was voided, and the Timberwolves had to forfeit their next 5 years worth of first-round picks, which is, I mean, it's a death sentence. Like, what do you do with that? So, Adam Silver doesn't strike me as the type of guy to come down with that sort of a harsh punishment. I could see them losing some draft picks. I don't know if it would be 5 years worth, and I don't know if they would void Kawhi's contract. I feel like they'll definitely give Steve Ballmer the maximum fine possible for this. But I'm really interested in seeing how Silver handles it because, like I said, it's his first time with this coming up. If he just does a little slap on the wrist, what are these other owners going to think? Hey,
what are these other owners going to do?
That's what I'm saying. That was part of the setup, at least from the evidence that has come forward. That was part of the setup to get Kawhi Leonard to leave Toronto and come to the Clippers. And I think even the Lakers were in the running for him during that free agency too. But, because he chose the Clippers, it's like, well, of course he was going to choose the Clippers because he was getting offered an extra $50 million on top of a max contract under the table. And then, and look, this is all just speculation on my part and just giving my opinion and everything. But if you're Kawhi Leonard or whoever was handling all this for Kawhi Leonard, why are you going to put your actual LLC name on the transaction list for all that? It was so funny to me because like they know what they're doing. You're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, but then on the list that his LLC, it was like KL2 LLC or something like that. It's like that's obviously Kawhi Leonard number 2. Yep. It wasn't hard to track down who it was. So I don't know. It's crazy. I saw Matt Moore, public Mavs enemy number 1 sometimes on Twitter. Matt Moore, he tweeted out something earlier today saying, if this was your team going through this, would you be mad? Or no, he said, would you care about it, or would you just not really care? And at first I was like, you know what? I think I'd be mad at my team for doing that and putting the future at risk if they did it. But then I thought about it for a second. I said, really, the answer to that question can't be answered truthfully until we see what kind of punishment the Clippers get for this.
Yep.
Because if they get a slap on the wrist, then I probably wouldn't care if Patrick Dumont or Miriam Edelson or whoever, I probably wouldn't care if they ended up doing something like this, if all that's going to happen is they get a big fine. But if draft picks get taken away, that's when I start to care.
Yeah, draft pick, and like I could see like salary cap cuts coming and stuff like that. Like I could see all sorts of viable punishment for that. With also there being a possible forcing sale of the team, I could see that too, potentially.
But has there ever been a franchise that's been forced to sell their team 2 times in, what would it be now, 15 years maybe?
Because that happened whenever we were in college. The what's his name? Who was the owner before Ballmer? It was
Donald Sterling.
Him, yeah. And I don't know. I don't think anybody, but honestly, this is like the most Clippers thing ever. Let's be honest.
Well, they got some talent and they've had some good teams over the last few years. But like I said, it seems like it's always something that comes up. And actually, it's only been a little over 10 years because let's see. It says Donald Sterling contested the agreement in court, but the NBA Board of Governors approved the sale of the Clippers to Steve Ballmer in August of 2014. So It's been 11 years since that happened. That'd be crazy if Ballmer was forced to sell.
It'd be hilarious. It'd be hilarious. I'm gonna tell you what though, that whole the concept of creating an LLC just to be able to generate more funds to give to star players under the table, something tells me this isn't the first time this has been done.
No.
Something also tells me others are doing this. I would be very curious.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of time there are a lot of signings that happen with players, and you're like, why the hell is he going there? I would like to investigate that personally.
Or at least, if you set up an endorsement deal for a player, as long as you don't it's pretty obvious in this case because Steve Ballmer made that contribution to the fraud company, and that money was basically just laundered through that company going to Kawhi. That's pretty obvious. But if you can, by word of mouth, set up extra sponsorship deals for endorsement deals for players and truthfully get them more opportunity and they're willing to contribute to it, why not do something like that? I don't think the team can technically set up stuff like that, but all of this would have been more believable if Kawhi Leonard had signed some endorsement deal with a legitimate company and was out there actually doing commercials or social media posts or something like that. But because all that isn't there, that's what makes this so obvious and so stupid on their part. So
the following thing, if they do void Kawhi's contract, which I think that's a foregone conclusion, I think that happens. Where does he go? And I'm going to tell you where I think, and I'm not happy about it. But I think that Kawhi Leonard is going to be a Los Angeles Laker.
Man, I hate it. I made a joke earlier about so when did the Mavs get to sign Kawhi Leonard on a veteran minimum contract? And then that's when you drop that. It's
I dropped the ball buster.
He's going to the Lakers. And I thought, you're probably right, because he was deciding between the Raptors, the Clippers, and the Lakers back during that 2021 free agency, I think it was 2020 or 2020. I don't remember what year, but anyway, that was the three teams. And I could see it because obviously he doesn't want to leave California. He doesn't
want to leave Los Angeles, I don't think.
He went to San Diego State.
But I think he's from Los Angeles. Where is he actually from? What is his hometown?
Let's see. I know he went to San Diego State, but I don't know exactly from. Let's see. Where is Kawhi Leonard from? Yeah, he's from LA.
Yep.
He's an LA guy.
And let's just play, the game of, deduction rather. So what are all the California teams? You got Sacramento, sucks ass. You got LA Clippers, in trouble. Lakers, probably the best situation, and you got the Warriors, which isn't a bad gig, but at the same time, I don't think they're in the same position to be successful down the road that the Lakers are.
Man, look, they'd have to get over some injury hurdles because of Kawhi Leonard's history, but the thought of LeBron, Luka, and Kawhi on the same team makes me mad.
Oh, it makes me sick. But I think that's what happens. Wouldn't you? Isn't that where you'd go if you were Kawhi?
Yeah, in his situation. Yeah. Especially if you don't want to leave California, especially that general area, because, obviously the Clippers aren't in LA anymore, but they're close enough. I don't know, man. I hope you're wrong, but I can 100% see it happening. So
now, if Silver really wanted to play hardball, and he ain't got the cojones to do it, but if he wanted to play hardball, he'd mandate it to where Kawhi couldn't sign with any team within that area code.
That would be funny. And it would be at that moment where Dalton puts his tinfoil hat on and starts saying some things like, "Oh, Dante Exum, yeah, I know we just waived Omax to give you this vet min contract. Sorry, buddy. Back to Europe you go."
Trade one injury-riddled player for another. This one's a little better, though.
Yeah, back to Europe you go, buddy. We're sorry. We appreciate the time you've spent here, but
oh man.
And Exum would still get his money, I'm sure. I'm sure that's a guaranteed vet minimum contract. But
Who cares? Kawhi Leonard. I'd pay 2 Exums.
Yeah, that'd be great. Like you said, both players have an injury history, but one is a slight notch ahead of the other.
Oh, it would be insane whenever he's healthy. Key word, whenever he is healthy.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for another episode of Mavs Step Back Podcast. We appreciate y'all coming in and listening to us every single week. Be sure to go to mavsstepback.com, which is our Substack channel, and you can subscribe there. It's free, for all of our free content, and then every now and then we will have some exclusive content that pops up, and if you want access to the exclusive content plus the bonus content that we'll do, you can also pay $5 a month and subscribe to that as well. So just $5 a month, you get full access to everything we do, but there is a free subscription option. All you got to do is go to mavsstepback.com, put in your email, and that's all there is to it. So be sure to do that. That helps us out a ton. Be sure to go subscribe on YouTube and all of your favorite podcast platforms. And we can't wait to get this season started. We still got a ways to go. We got all of September and most of October to get to the regular season. But at the end of September is when training camp is going to be starting. And then after that, we're going to have some preseason games. And next thing you know, we're going to be rolling right into this thing. And I cannot wait. There's a lot of unknown, but there's also a lot of potential and a lot of excitement. And I'm very ready to see how this new era of Mavs basketball unfolds. Because we've been through a lot of them, DJ. We've been through the ups and downs of a lot of things throughout the last 2+ decades. So I'm interested to see how the Cooper Flag era unfolds. I'm fairly confident that he's going to live up to our lofty expectations, though. He seems like he is the guy, and I'm ready for it. But guys, we appreciate it. Y'all have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. Go enjoy some college football if that's your thing. I know it is mine. I will be supporting my Southern Miss Golden Eagles this weekend as they take on Jackson State. So
you're going to be enjoying a hell of a band performance too.
That Jackson State band is something serious.
Oh my God. I don't know anything about anything whenever it comes to that, but I like what I see and I like what I hear. I mean, there's a reason why they're nationally acclaimed, and really why the whole SWAC is nationally acclaimed whenever it comes to, bands. There's really nothing like it.
I'll tell you this, it may not be a big deal to many people, but when Southern Miss plays Jackson State, it's a somewhat local in-state type of game, because Jackson's only about an hour or so away from Hattiesburg.
Mm-hmm.
And every time Jackson State plays down here, it's a near record crowd. Like I think 2 of the top 5 sellout crowds in Southern Miss history have been when Jackson State plays in Hattiesburg. So
did Southern play them whenever Dion was there?
I believe so. Yeah. Was Dion there in 2018?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
Let me see. Dion Sanders. I know
we're off topic, but
it's okay.
Yeah.
I want to know this.
Yeah.
State. Let's see. No, from the 2020 season through the 2022 season.
Okay.
So that was the last time USM played Jackson State was 2018. And the last 2 times they played them, it was 55-7, the exact score both times. But
that's funny.
It's funny, though, because when Deion Sanders was at Jackson State, there was a time where Southern Miss was recruiting, they were weighing the option of potentially hiring him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember him and his sons, both of his sons, Shador and I forget Shiloh Sanders, they were at a Southern Miss game standing on the home sidelines taking it in. So, before Deion decided to go to Colorado, there was a time there where, it could have been a possibility that he was coaching in Hattiesburg, which I would have personally loved because
that would have been awesome.
Major upgrade over who the previous coach was. But anyway, that's your Mavs step back, random Southern Miss Jackson State topic of the day. Guys, we appreciate it. Y'all go enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.